Morning, Munya.
Hi,
Really happy because of this meeting, for your time. Thanks for your time.
my
Uh,
pleasure.
we have seen your movie, Costa Brava, Líbano. It's a movie that we really enjoy, we really like. How did you get to the plot?
I think I was always interested in talking about family. I think often they say that for a first feature, we tend to write about what we know best and what comes to us easiest. And for me, it was my, discovery of the world and of society was through the study of the accidental and coincidental study of my family.
Mhm.
And I think those characters and certain family dynamics had been traveling for me from script to script to script. And in this one particularly, the writing of the story was paralleled with the protests of the Youth Think movement when the garbage crisis happened, and as the process of writing evolved, the situation of the country evolved. So the outside world and the political invasion became like a moving narration that became pressure on the family, and that allowed me to really try to talk about how often Lebanese people are not able to have normal dreams or normal relationships, because the uniqueness of our way of being comes from the pressures that are around us that we have to navigate and be resisting.
Mhm. It must be hard to work with this every day. Um, yeah. Talking about the plot, screenwriters, Clara
Yes,
Roquette and you.
yes,
For us, it's
yes,
quite funny because Clara
yes.
Roquette is quite famous here, especially in Catalonia. How did you find or how did you choose Clara Roquette for this work?
Clara and I met in 2012, I think, in New York, because I had left Lebanon to go study film. After studying architecture in Lebanon, I went and did the MFA at Columbia University, and Clara was in the same class. And I think one of the people that I got the closest to the quicker was Clara, because her and I, apart from our Mediterranean blood, I think we respected each other's work creatively. In screenwriting classes in film school, you read each other's scripts and you give feedback on each other's scripts and you watch
Mhm.
each other's work. So I got to really dive into her creative process, and she did the same. And naturally, we started working together. She and I co-wrote many things during those years. One of them being my short film Submarine, my thesis film from the school. And our relationship just evolved from a collaboration to a friendship and kept going back and forth. So when I started writing Costa Brava, because it was linked narratively to Submarine, it just felt like the natural decision to choose not only a friend but someone who has collaborated with me on similar themes and who's so good with family dynamics as well.
Another thing that is quite strange for us, the title. We are just we are in San Paul de Mar, 20 kilometers from the beginning of Costa Brava. So what did you choose this title? What's mean in Costa Brava for you?
Yes, it's funny because a lot of people who go there thinking they're going to watch a nice beach movie get really disappointed
Yeah.
to see all the garbage. Um, in Lebanon, there was an area not too far from the airport. There was a beautiful beach area. It was so beautiful a long time ago that they called it Costa Brava in honor of, or a copy of Spain's Costa Brava. And in the last years, this area became a trash dump for one landfill that was not ecological. So I think the title for me was a form of, you know, sarcasm, the idea that, this inaccessible dream, but also the destruction of what's beautiful, And yeah, so this is our Costa Brava, but it's the Costa Brava of Lebanon, and it's now a trash dump next to the airport. But also the irony of like me and Clara being co-writers, and the script being called, the film being called Costa Brava, Lebanon. So people think that it's like, you know, from Paris to Beirut, or but it's not.
Okay. Moinia, the film was nearly not to be done. Could you tell us what happened?
Yes. The process of making your first feature is already a very complicated one, especially from a country like this that doesn't have like funding that comes from the country. So it was a European co-production. It was also with the US. And 2 weeks after we've greenlit the start of pre-production, 2 days, sorry, no, sorry, a day after we greenlit the start of pre-production, the August 4th explosion happened. So we were in the offices, like in the middle of a pre-production meeting with the whole crew, and our city exploded because of the ammonium nitrates that exploded in the port. So that obviously destroyed the office, the homes of the crew, the mental health of everyone, and was a real threat to Lebanon and our city's memory. So it was not just physical destruction, it was unimaginable loss and grief and confusion. So for a moment, we just stopped everything. Obviously, everyone stopped everything, being busy cleaning and rebuilding. But a month later, we had a big meeting all together and questioned whether we should just go for it or not, because there were two options. We stop and postpone it to the year later or when things get better, or we just go for it because everything is already in place, and the fact of maybe having a schedule and something to go to every day will maybe help us not fall apart. And that's what we decided to do. Some people felt they were incapable of doing anything at the moment, so they, you know, left and took care of themselves. And the majority of the crew said that they needed a reason to exist, and it made the shoot quite a challenging experience, because on one side it was so amazing and so joyful to go on set, to be on set, and we had so much fun. But you know, when you're aware that you're in a bubble of safety that is in fantasy, it makes the back to reality afterwards harder.
Mhm.
I'm trying not to dissociate in my life anymore now, but this is the type of dissociation that I think saved us in many ways.
I think that you choose the right decision. Yeah.
Thank you. I definitely would have made a better movie if I wasn't dealing with so much at the same time, but I love the movie so much because it saved us.
Something very remarkable is the casting. I think that the casting is amazing. Wahid is a Saleh Bakri. I don't know if the pronunciation. The
Yeah.
amazing actress Nadine, and especially well, the two kids, but especially the small one. That I realized that they are a couple.
Yeah, they're twins.
Yeah. How do you get this good feeling between them? It is difficult to choose this kind of, or to select, or to get this kind of actors?
When I started the casting process, I really felt like if the family didn't work, the movie wouldn't work at all. So much they're the DNA of the script. So I spent a lot of time trying to find the right people. Walid Saleh Bakri, I had met years before at the Dubai Film Festival, where my short film Submarine won the main prize, the second main prize. And so he came to watch the film and loved it. And him and I started talking, and obviously the Middle East is a small, you know, world, but I loved his work so much, and he loved what he saw of my work, and that opened the conversation, and a friendship developed. And over the next 3 years, when I was writing the script, I kept thinking of Saleh while writing, and Clara obviously knew that. And one day we were in Paris, him and I, we were having coffee together there. He was visiting and I was there, and Clara was here. And Clara, who was really excited, just looked at him and told him, "You know, we're writing the role for you, right?" And I hadn't told him anything. I was keeping it for myself. And he was really happy about it. And he contributed to the creative process. We stayed in touch. And I kind of started writing based on how he speaks. And he, as a person, started feeding the character that was fictional. And it went back and forth. With Nadine Labaki, obviously, Nadine is an incredible actress, and I know that. So it wasn't about really casting or anything like that. It was, and Nadine and I know each other because we were neighbors in Beirut for a very long time. So the studio where her husband records music for films is right next to my childhood window. So our relationship started through an indirect creative exchange and then evolved through time. But this film is when our relationship went from superficial to deeper, obviously. So her and I had a few meetings. I told her about the script, and we both took time to think, is she the right person for Sureya? And then we both came to the conclusion that not only she would be perfect for it, but also she wanted to challenge herself to do something different than what she had done before, and in a way something closer to who she is as a person. And I also wanted the challenge to, you know, when you work with someone who has done a lot of things, then your challenge is, how can I create a unique character with someone? You know, it's not like it's a non-actor and it will be. So that was fun for me. And she's a really kind woman, and she trusted me fully. A lot of people wondered, is the fact that she's a director going to be a problem? And I think, you know, she trusted me and we trusted each other, and the fact that she's a director means that she understands my process. For the kids, the twins, so Nadia Sherbil and played the teenager. That was through casting process. The casting director Abla Khouri and her team, Sabina and Ayman, brought in a lot of people and that I saw with them, and the three of us would sit together, brainstorm on if that person is close to the DNA of the character that was written or not. But for the twins, it was quite a particular experience because I was looking for Reem, a 7-8-year-old girl, and I wasn't finding her. Like, I saw so many kids and I wasn't finding the person. And then one day, and I kept saying, I really want the baby girl, like the 7-year-old girl, to look like Saleh, or at least to have the blue eyes of Saleh, and for the teenager to look like her mother, to show the two camps. And one day she shows me a video of a little girl who's a total monster across a balcony. And she tells me, look at her. And I said, oh my God, it's her. Please, please bring her. That's her. We found her. Like, she was this like crazy ball of energy, like a little monster that was, you know, full of love. And then she said, actually, there's two of them. They're twins. So you're going to have to pick one if you like them. And they entered the office and I auditioned both of them. And I just fell in love with both of them. I felt like each of them had character traits that were so unique and different than the other. Then I thought, but if you assemble all of them together, they're really like the character I wrote. So I just chose scenes based on their personalities, and each of them acted those scenes.
Photography, amazing, very, very, very nice photography. The sound, especially the sound, is very remarkable. I think that is very important at the movie. What is the most difficult task in that movie?
Well, obviously, I'm really lucky that I collaborate with people that make me feel and that we're all aligned, and they elevate my work as well. You know, like this cinematographer Joe Saade, or the sound team Rawat Hbay, Ayran Aid, Peter Albrechtsen. All these people make the tasks more exciting, because then I'm having a creative conversation with someone who just adds something to it and adds something to it, and it just starts growing. For me, the most difficult part is always writing. I hate it. I want to do it, and I don't want to not do it, but the process of it is quite hard. It takes me a long time to be able to get in it, and then when I get in it, it takes me a long time to be able to get out of it. so that's the hardest part for me. The filming and the shooting is like a playground that I really love. The
Mhm.
editing, I think depending on the project, sometimes it's great, sometimes it's horrible.
Okay, and this one was horrible, although it was nice.
It was both. Up and down, ups and
No,
downs.
it's like the suffering of the artist. Uh, your movie is set on the future, but it looks like the present.
Yeah.
Something that is very important about is the crisis, about the uh, developments that happen in Lebanon. Could you imagine a year ago the situation like this one, like the moment that we are having at this moment in Lebanon?
No, I honestly, it's been the 4 most horrible years of my existence in Lebanon. Because when I was born, obviously, they had been worse before for my parents. And when I wrote the film, it was set in a dystopian future. But then when I was editing it, the future had become the present. So
Mhm.
there was this big debate in the writing room and the editing room. Do we write near future or do we just not write anything? Because it was written like a parabole, and suddenly the reality had become darker than the setting of the film. So it created a real confusion in my mind. And also the movie always opened on a statue of the president being taken away from the Beirut port, taken into the mountains, which was a way to not do an homage to Fellini, but also to bring the statue to the mountains. And so when we were visiting the location, we were taking pictures of the Beirut port. But then when we came and started shooting, it was destroyed because the August 4th explosion had happened in the
Mhm.
meantime. And again, there was this big thing of like, one, I don't want to film it with my camera. It's too soon. It's too difficult. And on the other side, there was, but that is the reality. I have to look at it. That is the reality. So if that is the port, that is the port. And suddenly I felt like witnessing it and recording it became a way to kind of like face the demon. um but it also changed the whole film because then it was set in the present, not in the future, because the port was destroyed.
Last question, and I let you go. Uh, we have done an interview a few weeks ago to Dina Amer, he was a director of You Resemble Me, and we were talking about the way we see the Muslim people in the world. I'm going to say something that is a bit hard, but we have become accustomed to seeing images of Muslim people suffering and dying. And if you are from the Middle East, you have to deal with pain, with a war and injustice. What do you feel and think about this situation?
Yes, obviously. And I think it goes beyond that. Like, for example, for me, I was born Christian, and despite completely agreeing with you, I feel like it's become not just about Muslims, but about Arabs in general, whatever their religion is.
Mhm.
Um, After a year of a televised incessant killing of people, I think people almost have gotten tired or used to these images. Like now it's been in the last 3 days, Lebanon has been getting completely bombed. And I feel like it's the first time in my life that I feel the international silence so deeply. It's like after a year of everything they've been seeing on the news, what's another Arab death? And I completely agree with what were discussing with Dina. I think people have become accustomed to violence and to a sense of like fake vision of what's evil and what's good,
Mhm.
and and just making everyone just one thing. And I don't know how we are going to recover from the last year, Lebanese people from the last 4 years, but also the international community of having been okay with what have been happened. And just the fact that your eyes are getting used to seeing decapitated and destroyed, our fathers like holding their kids in a plastic bag, or trucks arriving with
Mhm.
child bodies. Like, how are we going to get over this? And when will people wake up? It's really strange. I just feel like I've never felt so much that our lives don't matter. I don't want to use the same terminology of Black Lives Matter, because obviously each thing is different and it's its own fight. But I've never felt so much that Arab lives have become so useless for the world. It's really scary, and I want to believe that the people who have been, you know, protesting for the last year incessantly in the whole world are the hope, and I want to always be the kind of person that believes that change is possible and that things will change. But I think there's a lot of healing that's going to need to happen after this last year, and especially, like, I'm very curious to know where this is all going and what type of generation of traumatized children it's going to breed.
Yeah, I feel sorry about this situation. I think that most of the people, especially the people of the land, the people that we live in our country, I think that we are with you, with we are with the Arab community. But you know, there are governments, there are big corporations. There is a lot of things that maybe we don't know. But
so much that we don't know. Of course.
Yeah, exactly. I feel sorry about this situation.
No, I mean, Spain has been such a big ally, and for me on a personal level and also on a political level, I think you have been so vocal, and I genuinely believe that some of us are going to stick together and make a change. But today it's really hard to see behind the clouds, because there's
it's
so
very
much
difficult to see behind the clouds. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Like
Thank you
every
so much.
single director, you are invited to come to Sant Pol de Mar wherever you want. If you
I can't wait to come back. I was in the Costa Brava a month ago.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yes.
it's a pity. It's a pity
I
because Sant Pol de
know.
Mar is really close, pretty close. Are you been with Clara?
Yes, I was with Clara and
So you are
Kirsten
really
and
close
Ida.
friends.
Yes, we are very close friends.
That's really nice. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you so
Maria.
much.
Thank
I'll
you.
see you soon.
I hope
Bye.
to see you here in Sant Pol de
Yes,
Mar
I hope so
one day.
too. I would love to come.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
bye.
Bye-bye.